our ability to integrate one-click, which is a recent acquisition that Dig has made that provides a lot of sort of social context, pulling in different conversations from different social media. It brings in the social context and the social conversation. And just one example is we were testing a number of different cookie concepts to sort of understand which ones might be incremental to this portfolio. And we went and we did some learning in terms of what was the social conversations happening around different sort of limited time offers or different types of cookies or different innovation ideas that had tested, and what was the sort of themes of what people were saying on social, because we've really started to understand that, just what people tell you in the surveys is sort of a reaction to what you put in front of them. But there's a lot of conversation around different topics and things that are happening that we want to be able to pull in and provide that additional layer and context.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Dig Inspiration Conversation, where I get to unpack my recent interview with Jenna Levine at Danone. And she talked about a really exciting launch that Danone recently did with the Oikos Fusion product. And she talked about how she was able to leverage our technology, our team here at Dig, to achieve that launch. So I thought, well, I get to take this chance and this excuse to talk to my good friend, Kevin Hare. He is EVP here at Dig, who leads some of our most significant growth areas, including upside programs, just like what Jenna talked about. So, Kevin, welcome to it. Thank you for being here. And of course, we had to bring a little bit of our extra spirit to the conversation. For those listening auditorially, what are you wearing?
I have a Kansas City Chiefs Patrick Mahomes jersey.
Interesting. Yes. And
Yeah.
conversely, I am wearing the San Francisco 49ers George Kittle jersey because we have a little bit of a not so playful at times rivalry going when it comes to the NFL.
It definitely depends on the week and how we're feeling come Monday or Tuesday morning. And unfortunately, as we are recording this, things are not looking good for me. So I'm hoping when this airs, just inevitability will sink in and the Chiefs will be doing well in the playoffs. And hopefully that is actually what happens.
Wow. It's really weird to think that that's the future us that we're going to have to work through, right? We've got a number of weeks left to this one. Yeah. So we'll bring that competitive yet camaraderie spirit to this conversation as well, because there's just no better person to chat with about this conversation I had with Jenna, right? So she talked about the Oikos Fusion launch, really a strong partnership where we worked with her and supported her team across a number of different decisions they had to make. And as she described, this agile push, right? They needed a validated concept in 6 weeks. So talk to us about why Upside and, partnering with our teams, especially in those types of engagements, it really is good at helping in those situations.
Yeah, I guess, first and foremost, we've really built a lot of methodologies that make iterating faster into the platform. So within Upside, the ability to test things iteratively, quickly, the visualizations, the speed to insight that we often sort of talk about is really sort of leveraging the platform in a way that it was built to be able to do that sort of engagement and to really iterate sort of quickly. So that's something that the platform is particularly strong at and well suited for. And then I guess just on top of that, the fact that we've built out a number of different teams who are just sort of ready to go and very sort of fluent in being able to do innovation testing and do work quite iteratively within the platform really helps build that sort of speed and that ability of our clients to sort of benefit from that expertise and how we're thinking about using the platform in many sort of standardized ways. So it can really take what we had initially sort of conceived as being like, let's do concept testing, let's do innovation and early stage screening. And it just really supercharges that process to be able to go from a sort of a rough idea and maybe iterating on it and testing very quickly and sort of moving to finalization and sort of confirming that there really is an opportunity. So we have a number of clients who are really benefiting from the ability to leverage the platform across a number of different steps as they move from like super early stage, like idea or benefit conceptualization, all the way to taking that to sort of a fully fleshed out concept in a relatively short period of time. So I thought Jenna did a great job sort of explaining how that works at Danone, and a lot of the success we've seen with other organizations has been taking a very similar approach to sort of iterating and making an innovation life cycle quite quickly.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because she said, we needed a validated concept in 6 weeks. Some might take that as saying, oh, I need to go test a concept and make sure I have the right story within 6 weeks. But that was not the case. It was, no, we need to understand different opportunity statements. We need to understand claims. We need to understand packaging. We need to get to this final concept in 6 weeks. And I think a lot of people think about Upside for just idea testing. But in this instance, Danone and Jenna's team really did leverage it for so many different ways. So what are some of the more surprising things that you can actually do in Upside that people might not be aware of?
Some of it you had mentioned right there, just like ideas, names, claims, packs. I think we've done a lot of interesting work that would even show that you don't need sort of like the image. We've done work to sort of validate whether or not an idea was presented with a visual image for somebody to react to, or if it was just the text. And so we've understood that there's real opportunities to just really streamline things, that you don't have to sort of wait until an image has been created to test something. So it could be a larger number of ideas. It's quite well suited for that. And that was sort of the initial ways that we were thinking about leveraging the platform and doing trade-off analysis. But we're at a point now where we've really sort of built out a number of different use cases. We have a number of clients who are testing scripts for ads, final creative, early stage creative, packaging, the ability to show different videos and video stimuli is particularly important as we're thinking about different use cases for a number of our clients who are leveraging it to test things in an iterative way, understanding that the stimuli might sort of change as they go. So we've really built out a number of the opportunities and ways that we're testing stimuli that have unlocked sort of later stage. So it's not just that initial early stage idea testing, which it was designed initially for. We've got a number of different use cases and ways that clients have been sort of pushing us to say, could we do this? And just as the platform has advanced and it's grown to support different question types and different analyses, that in particular has been sort of an unlock, I think, for a lot of our clients, and in the way that we're thinking about designing research that can sort of go through the Upside platform. And then I guess, I mean, just a few of the different ways that it really comes to life. One, Jess, that I know you're a strong and huge advocate for is our market simulator. So we've recently won an SMR award for the predictive analytics, and in particular for the modeling that we have coming out of it. And just, I guess, the TLDR on what it is it'll do a share estimate based on the ideas and concepts that were tested, and project sort of the share if those products were available in market. And what we can do from that is run volumetric analysis. If we're able to tie our share performance within the exercise back to real in market volumes and make a bunch of those projections that a lot of our clients really rely heavily on and sort of take it to the next level. So that's been a really sort of interesting build and something that many of our clients are leveraging. And I think the other one that I sort of mention here is our ability to integrate OneClick, which is a recent acquisition that Dig has made that provides a lot of sort of social context, pulling in different conversations from different social media. And it really is sort of a different data set that it's not primary data that we've collected within the survey that sort of, is really purposeful on a specific topic, but it brings in the social context and the social conversation. And just one example is we were testing a number of different cookie concepts to sort of understand which ones might be incremental to this portfolio. And we went and we did some learning in terms of what was the social conversations happening around different sort of limited time offers or different types of cookies or different innovation ideas that had tested, and what was the sort of themes of what people were saying on social, because we've really started to understand that just what people tell you in the surveys is sort of a reaction to what you put in front of them. But there's a lot of conversation around different topics and things that are happening that we want to be able to pull in and provide that additional layer and context. So that was
Yeah.
particularly interesting that we were able to do, a concept test, but pull in what people were saying about this particular brand and their innovations that they had launched recently. So really weaving in a number of different data sources is what we're starting to see as like adding value above and beyond just doing an idea screen or a test that you might do.
Yeah, I love that example because it just complements so well what you might see in the Upside dashboard in terms of the market performance, the potential incrementality where maybe certain products are prone to cannibalization within the portfolio, but then adds that layer of context and that very rich commentary. I mean, people talk online. I mean, I think I saw that cookie report. Like, people are pretty passionate about those brands, and bringing in that passion to the conversation. I'm also picturing and talking with clients about how it's going to support their retailer sell-in conversations when they're going to bring it into Kroger or Walmart, and bringing in that added layer of not just here's the predicted performance of this item, but here's the sort of the social passion around it, right? It's really powerful.
And I think it's also sort of a mirror in many cases to like, some iteration or some brainstorming, or there's been some work done, either internally at our clients' organizations or with an agency around like, what is the idea for a potential new product or innovation or concept? And is it actually mapping back to what people are saying? And so, the
Right.
ability to sort of say, it might have been built for this intention. Are we actually measuring it that it's having that impact, or consumers are associating, what our client is testing with that desired use case or with that desired occasion, or it's touching on nostalgia in that case around cookies that we spoke about. So it is helpful to sort of have that frame of reference, as we're saying, providing more to the data that we're able to share with them.
Yeah. Can we spend a moment on nostalgia, Kev? Because listen, we're not young chickens. I'm a little bit of an older chicken than you, but I feel like we're at this point where I'm max nostalgia. Like, I love anything from the '80s just gets my attention. That's why the show Stranger Things and other shows like that, I am here for the nostalgic moment that we were having as a social construct.
I mean, Stranger Things is a big one. I think it was season 3 that they were at the mall, and like
Yeah,
just reminders for me of like how much time I spent at a mall. Like we're not doing that anymore. So even like living within that, I don't know what it was, like 6 or 7 episodes, and being just like, oh, transported back to a place where
yeah,
you might have been 25 or 30 years ago, maybe depending on how old you were, thinking back to sort of the 80s and 90s. But I mean, it's clearly resonating with people who have purchasing power at this point,
yep.
and is probably why it continues to be something that a lot of brands are tapping into, is just sort of that comfort of like something that you remembered from the past. And we've seen, a number of different concepts that we'll test within our research that are really sort of like focused or honed on, something of sort of like that return to the past. And so, what's old is new again, and I'm here for it as well.
Yeah, well, another hot topic that we talk about frequently on this podcast is GLP-1s, and obviously the Oikos launch was all surrounding that and really trying to appeal to that demographic. And Kevin, you've been at Dig a long time. Where are we now? How
A
many
little over
years?
10 years.
10 years. Okay. So
Yeah.
so you've seen a lot of generations of Dig. You've seen a lot of the different capabilities that the company has brought in and developed. And our trends and innovation team is one of our newest acquisitions and sort of complements to our consultative power. And so it just got me thinking about how compelling it is to be able to help clients look and explore those futures, explore new categories, ways to appeal and sort of stay ahead of the market, and then also have the capabilities to quantify and validate those types of propositions. And so, from your experience, having been here 10 years, what does that mean for clients now that we can help them in more ways and sort of across that innovation spectrum?
I think it's been a bit of an unlock for us as I think about what we call market signals. And so our ability to sort of understand what might be on the leading edge of something that's worth paying attention to or quantifying. And so our trends and innovation team are adept, and it's their expertise to really understand and take things that are happening within culture and within the social context and say, this is something that, might be sort of primed for an opportunity for this brand, and sort of translating what they're seeing in different market manifestations and signals that are happening. And so we didn't have that before. And so it just really sort of lets us get a little bit earlier, I think, in where a lot of clients had typically come to us, which was, I have a concept that I need validation for. And
Mhm.
now the conversation that we can have with them can start with, what are you seeing in the market? What's leading you to believe that this will be an opportunity? Where are there adjacent categories or spaces that we're seeing something touching on that benefit? So in the case of GLP-1, which we've done a lot of work on, it's really understanding a lot of the consumer story and a lot of what's going on that's leading to potential product innovation. But you really need to ground yourself in the consumer and what's happening in the market. And I think our T&I team is particularly strong at understanding and translating those signals into something that we can then test and validate. And so that is a massive change for us to say, we can start our engagements with our clients far sooner than maybe they thought that we could 5 or 10 years ago. And so that bridge between understanding what the social or market context is, bringing it into the Upside platform for validation, and then iterating with them, have been workshopping and working through maybe potential opportunities, has been awesome to see. And I think our T&I team, who can now leverage our Upside platform, it's really letting them sort of work in different ways too, where they're not saying, here's what we're seeing. We can now take it to the point where we can start sizing it and understanding, what's the velocity of some of these trends? What's the velocity of some of these benefits? Is it resonating and tracking that over time? So it's really setting us up to sort of work with clients at an earlier stage, and I think add a lot of value along the way, because that our T&I team in particular is just extremely strategic when it comes to sort of understanding the opportunities from market signals. And now we're powering it with this idea or the platform, which can really validate and translate it into a quantifiable opportunity.
Yeah, yeah, it's a beautiful combination when those things come together. So, what's the Chiefs' record right now?
We're 5-5.
Got it. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So that means, Kevin, so far that half the games you've watched, you've probably had like a positive experience, a great time. Probably half the games, not so much. But outside of football, because Jenna was saying, she's like listening to Good Hang with Amy Poehler, which I totally started listening to, and I'm in love with it.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways that are spending your downtime? What are you watching? What are you listening to that's bringing you joy?
I mean, you're right. I'm not getting enough joy from the Kansas City Chiefs right now. That's just not the joy that I need. It's another Ringer podcast. So Amy Poehler's Good Hang is a very good listen. There's another one called The Rewatchables,
Oh,
which the premise of this is basically they just go back and they'll dissect a movie for like an hour and a half conversation. And usually they are movies that ran on cable and you could jump in at any moment to just sort of like pick up that movie because it was so rewatchable and typically it's sort of been shown so many different times. And that podcast in particular sort of breaks down a movie into sort of like casting decisions and what ifs, and it runs through a
wow.
bunch of different scenarios. And so I find it hilarious because it's usually, and there's sort of a run of them that they're doing 80s action movies, which
Oh,
I mean you
man.
have to just not take seriously, but realize how ridiculous they are to enjoy them. So anytime that's on, I get a really good laugh of it, and that also makes me nostalgic to some of the movies that I used to watch.
Yeah. Well, what's one of the recent movies they unpacked?
The Naked Gun,
Oh,
that
yeah.
one was
Yeah.
I like the jokes per minute on that one. It's a tight, like it's like 85-minute runtime. Like there's just no wasted space, and
Yeah.
Leslie Nielsen just is absolutely kills in that movie. He's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, I think I need to get my kids to watch that one. I think that's where we are. Yeah, and,
Yeah.
speaking of nostalgia and some action, I mean, if you have not watched the Cobra Kai series, Kevin, your boys maybe not quite old enough because there's a little bit of, like, teenage humor in there, but and stuff, but, oh my gosh, it is like reliving the movie f over the series of whatever it is, 18 episode. It's just a delightful experience, and man, those guys are aging well, and I'm just proud of them, and I support them, whatever they're doing to maintain their chi and their, yeah, that's something that our family, like, we watched the whole series together, and it's good because it's like forcing your kids to spend a little time with you in an
Okay.
area
Well,
where, you're fighting for attention.
my kids aren't of the age yet where they're getting closer to watching the same thing that we're watching. We're not quite there, and
Yeah.
having spent probably the last like 5 or 6 years kind of reducing myself to what they're watching, we just drawn like a fine line. I was like, I can't watch
Oh,
another Grizzy and the Lemmings. Like it's just not gonna happen. There's anyway. So I do look forward to the time when they're a little bit older and we can share something like Cobra Kai.
you also are gonna miss some of it though, Kev. You're making fun of it now, but I'm telling you, once you don't have an excuse to watch Octonauts anymore, it's a sad, sad time.
Yeah, I guess you can just go back and watch it by yourself. I don't know if
You
that's
can. It's
enjoyable at
not
all.
really not a good look, but okay. Well, Kevin, thanks so much for taking time. It was great to talk about Jenna's episode, and it's such a tremendous partnership that we have with Danone. And thank you for leading the team and the group that really makes those upside engagements that powerful, that enjoyable for our clients to work with. So thanks for letting me take the excuse to give a little shit as well on the whole Chiefs thing. But we'll see you in January. See where we are.
I hope so. All right. Thanks, Jess.
Like what you heard? Share the inspiration or head to diginsights.com to learn more about what we do.